2020 on my clock. Hey, you guys, welcome back to my channel. So I am bringing this video out here to talk about the ancestors, and the ancestors that were here before us. Okay, and ancestors that actually came back. What I was, the information I was giving yesterday was ancestors always come back. Okay, they always come back. Ancestors always come back, except within the last 20, 30, maybe I'm gonna say 30, 35, 40 years. Ancestors that came back didn't come back from the highest white light. The ancestors that came back came from the dark light, from the dark. Okay, so you got black people, we'll just say black people who are like real heavy into drug usage. Some of those people were ancestors. Some of those people are ancestors. Those are the ones that came back from the dark, though. Because when they came back with no intention of bringing the youth up in the situation that we're supposed to be in. They came back 2022 on my timer. They came back, so 222. They came back as drug addicts. By them being drug addicts, they ruined entire families, stole from their children, was on welfare, was dependent on the government. These are ancestors that lived off the system. Now, I had a situation on a plantation, right, where a female was upset because I was upset at the fact I had picked up a second job on a plantation, and what happened was the persons that I was training with were drug abusers. Now, I don't necessarily care about your drug of choice or however it is that you continue your day. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't matter to me. But in this instance, I was being trained by a person who you can tell was a drug abuser, let's say heroin abuser, and this person was standing on the plantation, nodding off. And then you had people walking around like, "Hey, you okay?" They're asking if this person is okay, but you know what this situation is. And then you had individuals who actually would, laugh about stuff like that. And I'm sitting here like, that shit is not funny. It's not funny. That's one thing that's just not funny to me. Now, mind you, this abuser of whatever drugs she was on, I was informed that she was some kind of ancestor, and she may have been. I didn't look deep into it, but she may have been. But I understand that is the case. This is, most drug abusers that grew up raising me were ones that had been here already, but when they came back under dark pretense, but under dark intention, if that makes sense. Like, they didn't have the intention to bring us out of the darkness. They had the intention of keeping us in the darkness with their drug abuse, their irresponsibilities. They're putting the drugs over their children. They're selling their babies off for drugs, things like that. That's what kept us in the dark. Okay. So anyway, back to this plantation situation. Now, she was obviously on some type of drug or whatever that impaired her movements. Literally, she had to stand in one space, stand in that spot and nod. I was so upset, Jay. I was so aggravated by it. I was aggravated because I'm like, the fuck, like, I just didn't, I couldn't. And what made it so bad, it was an individual, a younger person this is a younger person who really don't know no better, who was so used to that type of life and used to that type of lifestyle that they would get upset if anything that the abuser did was mentioned. But you're not understanding and this is where your mindset is. You are enjoying staying in the dark because she's like, yeah, that's an ancestor, but you are enjoying staying stuck in the dark by this ancestor who obviously don't give a darn about you. You can cry about them all day, and they might be extremely nice, they might be extremely caring and extremely giving, but anybody with any good experience knows, anybody with an experience that dealt with people who are drug addicted or or anybody with that kind of experience knows that's you can't trust that. You can't believe that because they'll come in your house and steal to get their next fix, to get their next high. And everybody who's experienced that knows that. I can't have, it's certain individuals that went in my era when we grew up, you didn't want certain types of people around your kids. It's certain types of people you don't want around your kids. Why you think that some people would get a whole bunch of money and they run to the suburbs? Because they don't want this type of around their children. Now, don't get it twisted. Even in the suburbs, you got people who are drug addicted. And, you got white folk. You got them too. They are on drugs. But at least they're in their house and they're being more careful and more responsible with their usage. They're not out in the public or on the plantation where everybody can see humiliating themselves. Now, you do get some that get out there and get drunk and humiliate themselves. Yes, you do get that. But it's not as often as you would see in the neighborhood full of people who were influenced to stay in the dark space that they're in. So anyway, I was so aggravated by this individual's 8:33 on my timer. I was so aggravated, that I quit. I quit the second. No. It was the first person that I saw that was in that condition. I was aggravated, but I was like, okay, well, it's probably, it's always one. And the next day, I got trained with another person. The next person was on the same thing. I said, I'm quitting. I'm done because I can't. I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to deal with it. And that's, it was too much growing up. Looking at that, and it was too much seeing people out on the streets like that. I got to come to work and see this shit too. I don't think so. Y'all can have that. Because I'm not finna deal with it. Like, it's way too much. And so, this young lady, she was upset that I mentioned and I made a statement about this thing. She was upset. She felt like, yeah, she an ancestor and we shouldn't be talking about her that way. An ancestor that want to keep you in the dark. That's not what's supposed to be happening. Our ancestors are supposed to, in our highest white light, wants us to grow and be, be more vigilant and bring our own children out of the darkness that these people have constantly tried to keep us in. Yeah, let me tell you something. When I first seen this lady and how she was behaving in her state, I literally sat there and like, they still do this. Like I was kind of surprised. Like, dang, they still do this. Still, like I thought this was dead. I thought that was over with, but it ain't. It ain't, obviously. Or maybe I just wasn't in touch with it. And I'm glad I wasn't. I ain't bragging. I don't want to be in touch with stuff like that. I'm good on that type of stuff. I am, because it's not funny. It's not appealing. It's very humiliating, and you're continuously giving black folks a bad name. I'm sitting here like, when these white folks look at us, they still looking at us all like, even although they're going through the same things that we're going through, they still feel like they can have some type of superior, some type of superior setting over us. Just a little, Miguel. Turn it down. They still feel like they can have some type of superior something over us because what? Oh, they don't give a fuck about each other. They sit up and laugh at each other, about this or that. So why should we care about, whatever it is? So instead of them, but they'll fake care. They'll fake like, oh yeah, but talking about you, dogging you, even mentioning your name in a nice way is a bad way for them to be speaking about you. Anyway, the lady, like, it was so, to me, it was humiliating. Like, you out here straight humiliating yourself. You making us look like we all do this kind of thing. And we don't. We all don't do drugs or use and abuse drugs. All of us don't. But they have a very firm belief, 12:44 on the timer, 20:33 on my clock. They have a very firm belief that, flock together. What is it called? Birds of a feather flock together. I stand by myself. I stand alone. Because I just won't be mislabeled or misjudged. They have that whole saying about birds of a feather flock together, and you put me with heroin addicts. I don't do heroin. I don't do heroin. I don't do marijuana. I don't even do hard liquor. I don't do none of that stuff. Okay. Now, growing up, I may have experimented with things, but I experimented with this stuff to find out that it wasn't for me. I would experiment with this stuff knowing deeply in my heart and my spirit that this is not what I wanted. I was just, going off of what my environment showed me what life was, Sometimes we do that. We go off of the things that we see until we figure out or get in touch with ourselves to understand what we're comfortable with and what we're not comfortable with. And so, It was yours. Or did you have one already? You can have it. So, but like I was saying, it's a lot of us once we figure out that what works for us and what don't work for us, you know, you'll naturally begin to detach or remove yourself from certain things. Whenever, when you know that, well, I'm not comfortable with this, so I'm not going to do it. You'll naturally begin to detach yourself from it. That's when you starting to know who you are, know yourself, and know what you like and what you don't like, and what presses your buttons and what don't. And that environment that most of us grew up in, and I'm talking about black folks, that most of us grew up in. What I came to the understanding that those people that did fall victim to their environment and just went with it and just did everything, those that stayed with it, those are the people that did not heal. Those are the people that did not want to go on the inside and get to know who they were. Instead, they let other people tell them who they were. Okay? And that is especially if you have a parent who is into the drug abuse and all that stuff, like that parent keeping that person ancestor in the dark, and by the girl being upset the way she was, trying to hit me with a curse, literally trying to hit me with a curse, and it backfired on her. Tried to hit me with a curse. And then thought I wouldn't know. Thought I didn't notice. Like, girl, you barking. This is not the tree you want to piss on. Okay? This ain't the tree that you want to chop. This ain't the tree that you want to take an axe to. You need to realize and understand who... And people are actually slowly realizing who it is and what it is that they're dealing with, once they have their experience. Now, some people actually will, people will look and they'll say, you know what, I'm not even going to mess with it. I'm not even going to be bothered because, there's a result. Like I said, the demonic community, they have an ET phone home kind of like complex, and they could tell what happened to a person, just like the collective. They could tell what happened to a person, how it happened, when it happened. They can tell certain things. It's a communication. And so when stuff backfires on a karmic, it's like the whole community of that karmic feels it. If that makes sense. Like, yeah. The whole community will feel it. The whole community will see it, understand it, and say, oh, let me, So, the ancestors of the darkest light, of the dark, were the ones that came back, and they were all drug abusers. Now, you think it all got, like all the 80s, the 90s, even the 2000s, it was heavy drug usage, to the point where crack cocaine, heroin, like even in the 70s was what, cocaine and heroin? Yeah. All of them, most of them guys were ancestors, and they were brought back into this era to continue to keep generations in the dark. And that, in me, I say cease that shit. Dead that shit, because I don't want to continue to watch our children fumble. I don't want to continue to watch them get shot down because they don't want to come up out the dark, or they're too scared to come up out of that. enough's enough. It's over with. And that's what the Most High says. He says it's over. I'm done playing with y'all. It's over. And whether you like it or not, whether you happy or not, whether you are uncomfortable, discomfortable, uncomfortable, who cares? It don't matter. He has brought a complete change, did a whole 360 on this motherfucker, and it's finna be it's literally finna be a wrap. Usually when I have a situation with a drug abuser, karmic, or whatever the case, I go about my business and I leave it alone. This time I had to say something because it's ancient. This is ancient. Like, this is old. Like, I know motherfuckers have something way better than this. You got your Caucasian counterparts who are heavily on methamphetamines and heroin and whatever drug. And usually they always follow up behind what a black person does. Let them have that shit. Period. That time for us is over. We don't want it no more. It's over. When you gonna wake up and realize that? And I don't give a darn how mad you are. I don't give a darn how much yelling you do. I don't give a darn how much screaming you do. It don't matter to me. I understand something, that we cannot continue to keep our children in these darknesses. That's period. So that's the whole point of this video, is to just say, hey, we over it. It's over, and I'm done. We're done. And anything that you try to do, like I said, back in the day they crucified Yeshua, but you can't do none of that this time. No matter your curses, all that shit gonna backfire. Everything you say and do is gonna backfire back onto you, karmic, because the Most High says this is over with. I'm sick of this. The Most High says it's over, and when the Most High says it's over, done deal. Ain't nothing else to talk about. And ain't nothing else to talk about. You got something to say? Take it up with the Most High. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this video, and hopefully, what I'm saying is getting across to you guys. It's not in a harmful manner. It's a truthful manner. That's all it pretty much is. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye. Peace.